Rugby. 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 Italy versus the Springboks. Now, first up, King Razzie is smart enough this game to not substitute 12 of the team for Italy, okay? He's smart enough to make smart adjustments that he wants to see out of the players for the future of the team, and he put them into the team against Italy, and he did not underestimate the Azuris like the Wallabies did. And this is going to be a pretty strong team from the Springboks, and I do think that the Italians could have this might be. I think this will be the toughest game for the Italians this year, going up against a pretty much full-strength Springboks side. The Springboks is under the back foot a little bit after losing a couple games in a row now, so the Springboks is out to make a statement, is out to show the world they can still be considered number one, and to really show the fans that they can walk away with a big, comfortable win, especially with some of their weapons, especially in the forward pack, seems to be neutralized a lot. They wanted to really come out this game and show that they still have those weapons really ready to go. And unfortunately, Italy might be on the receiving end of the wrath of an angry Springbok team. With that being said, Razzie do not have to worry about being the first time ever losing to Italy, because Alistair Coates, is that his name? Coates? Alistair has already done that for the Springboks in 2016. The Springboks lost to Italy in 2016, and that's the one and only time the Italians has ever beaten the Springboks. So Razzie have that burden off his back. Despite that, he's not gonna risk taking that second loss under his belt. So yeah, he's put up a pretty solid team. So let's have a look at some of the stats from last week from both teams. So first up, we've got Italy. Overall, the Italians' performance last week against the Wallabies was quite impressive, to be honest. I thought the overall discipline, the overall execution and clinicalness for the Italian team was pretty high. So no lineouts lost, no scrummaging lost, and also was able to spoil one scrum against the Wallabies, a couple of lineouts against the Wallabies, and also only 9 penalties conceded overall, which is really spectacular for the Italians. Missed tackle count also quite low rather, like completion rate is quite high, 89%. Pretty much like world-class standards, as you would expect from international teams these days. The only thing that really hurt the Italians was the goal kicking, 50% goal kicking, and that's something that really hurt them a little bit, or could have cost them the game. Actually, it was pretty close down to the wire. If they had landed some of those penalties, the Italians could have won a lot more comfortably overall. In terms of the player stats, I think the most interesting part out of those stats is the work rate in terms of the tackling from the Italian forwards. 14 tackles, 13 tackles, 11 tackles, and no missed tackles out of these guys. Just world-class defense, really high work rate. The only person is the fly half, has a bit of a tackling issues, 3 missed tackles out of 7, but still, that's not, too horrendous overall. So yeah, the overall Italian stats look quite good. I thought the Italian performance against Australia, the attack line looked quite smooth, and it really looked like it's really big difference between the Italy today than the Italy team maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. Like the smoothness, the cohesion between the team, like the discipline. Everybody just seems to everybody understands the game and plays the game in a truly world-class level now for the Italian side. So yeah, it's not gonna be a free win, so to speak, for the Springboks, but yeah, this is definitely gonna be a interesting game to say the least. For the Springboks on the other side, under pressure by obviously the French, the number one team in the world. Despite having more run meters overall, the Springboks overall is a little bit clunkier compared to the French. 3 line-out missed. That's something that the Springboks, Springboks will be pretty disappointed by. As the line-outs, the more drive, the tries from the set piece dominance is something the Springboks pride themselves on, and it's a weapon that the Springboks utilize a lot to help them win games, score penalties, and even score tries. So with this 3 missed lineouts is something that the Springboks would really like to forget about that game. They have been able to disrupt the French a little bit in terms of scrummaging and lineouts. I do feel like the Springbok scrum look a lot better in the first half than the Springboks in the second half. Despite having Petersen du Toit getting red carded early in the first half, the Springboks still look quite in control in terms of scrummaging. Whereas the lineouts, where I didn't think there was going to be an issue, even with a du Toit off the field, the Springboks actually struggled a little bit then. Overall, 10 penalties for Springboks, not too bad. If we have a quick look at some of the player stats, I did notice one thing that's interesting is that the Springboks number 10, just like the Italian number 10, struggles to make tackles. And Damien Valimsa, we've spoken about this, mate. You can't be the greatest player in the Springbok history if you can't make tackles, mate. Okay, so he missed 3 tackles again on the weekend. This is starting to become like a trending issue now for Valimsa. His missed tackle count is probably a bit higher than you would like to see for the Springbok team, so he definitely needs to lift that up a little bit. In terms of goal kicking, something that the Springboks struggled 2 weeks ago against Ireland, no longer an issue. So if we can get the kicking stats up, 100% goal kick. Who would have known? Rassie Erasmus, I don't know, has a magic pill. Does he have a magic pill? Because the Springboks went from no capable goal kickers to having three world-class goal kickers. There was 6 goals being kicked between 3 players, and not a single kick was missed. So even Damien Valimsa landed a long-range kick from 40 meters out on a bit of angle as well. So yeah, please give me the pill, Rassie. I want to be a world-class kicker, because please. Maybe I can qualify for the Wallabies if I become a world-class kicker. So please help me. Send me the pill. Please send me. Help me. Rassie, help me. So yeah, that was really impressive. And then and the reason I think it's a pill, because it's only 6 days for this. Nobody can learn to become a world-class kicker in 6 days. Okay, there has to be a pill. Okay, please, Rassie, sell it, please. Anyway, Matthew Crowley will be the referee. He's English, so we have to see. I don't really have a particular issue with this referee. I think he's okay. He's not as clinical as, I think, he's not as clinical as Barnsley, but he is one of the referees who will be like swayed by the TMO a little bit. So yeah, unlike Barnsley, who's like really firm on what he thinks is the right decision, Carley, did I say Crowley? Matthew Carley is someone that's tend to be a bit on the TMOs. Anyway, he's more likely to give out a yellow card and a red card. There will be no absorbing tackle yellow cards out of this guy, is what I'm trying to say, okay? No absorbing tackles will be given a yellow card this game with this guy in charge. That's what I'm going to say, okay? The game obviously is going to be played in Italy, in this stadium, this weird-ass looking stadium. And it's going to be played here. It's in the city of Genoa. The weather's going to be fine on a Saturday, maybe a bit cloudy, maybe a bit like greasy, humidity, but overall it's going to be okay. 24 degrees, nice and clear for this game. Now let's have a look at the lineups. So the Italians obviously realizing that the Springboks has a dominant scrum, especially with that bomb squad set up on the bench. The Springboks has opted once again for 6 forwards and 2 backs this game. So the Italians has moved their starting hooker and prop to the bench and moved the bench up. This is a little bit surprising to me, because although the technically bomb squad is supposed to be like the stronger front rowers in South Africa. But last week, Ox Nche and Bungi Bunabi did a much better job against the French. Yeah, I thought the scrummaging was much better when the Ox Nche and Bunabi was on the field than when the bomb spot came on. So maybe this is a wrong decision for the Italians. But yeah, this is what they've done. They've moved they swapped the props around. So Danilo Fuschetti stays the number 1 jersey for the Azuris. Gia Kumo Nicotera comes in a hooker position for Italians up from the bench. Pietro Cesaretti comes in number 3, tight head position, coming up from the bench as well. The Springboks unchanged front rowers. Ox Nche, I thought he was tremendous last week against the French, despite up against like the biggest tight head prop in the world. He was just holding himself, doing quite well, especially with Peter Dutoy missing with the red card. The Springbok scrums look still steady and solid as always. So I was really impressed. Bungi Bunabi retains the hooker position number 2. Frans Malherbe, the best title prop in South Africa, stays at number 3 jersey. The big boy, number 3. In the locking positions, unchanged for the Italians. Nicolo Canotne stays at number 4. Federico Ruza comes in at number 5 for Italians. The Springboks, however, have opted to change their locking setup for this game. This is potentially a point, potentially a contentious decision, and this could be a point where the Italians could potentially get a bit of an advantage out of the Springboks. The fact that Samar Morat and Marvin Orie haven't played for the Springboks, I don't think at all. I think Morat haven't played at all this year. Maybe against Wales in that second test. But yeah, these two guys haven't really played that much. I know Marvin Orie came on the bench last week and immediately gave away a penalty, so that wasn't really a good performance from him. But yeah, this is going to be potentially an area where the Italians could work some interesting stuff for the lineouts. And also the Springboks lineouts weren't that clinical last week, so having 2 brand new locks, the Italians might be able to get something here. Marvin Orie will be the most likely, the primary line-out receiver for the South Africans, with Franco Mostert in the blindside flanker position as the secondary line-out option. And maybe if Marvin Orie struggles for some reason, will use Franco Mostert as the go-to option for the day. So yeah, it depends how it goes, but we have to see. In the loose forwards position, Sebastian Negri comes in number 6 for Italy. Sia Khaleesi retains the 6th jersey for the Springboks. Number 7, Michelle? Is it Michelle? Michelle Lamaro comes in number 7. Franco Mostert moves from the lock position to the blindside flanker position for the Springboks. So yeah, like I said, Franco probably going to be the secondary option and the long ball option, unless Marvin Orie is struggling at 2. They might just go to him for a safer option if things kind of struggles a little bit. Lorenzo Canone gets that number 8 jersey for the Azuris. Jasper Visa actually gets called into the squad at number 8. He was actually missing completely last week with Huaga Smith at 8. So Jasper Visa comes in at number 8 jersey, which leads me to think that the Springboks might play a bit more box kick in this game, try to challenge that high ball a little bit, test the series under the high ball just a little bit more with Jasper Visa as that short range high ball specialist. Stephen Varney retains that number 9 jersey for Azuris. As you can see, the Azuris has unchanged backline against the Springboks this week. Faf de Klerk, I thought his game control last week was quite good. His kicking was decent, but only criticism I have for him last week is I felt like the breakdown was a little bit too slow for the Springboks when what's his name? When Cobus Reiner came on, the Springboks breakdown looked a lot faster and they were able to get a bit more momentum. So maybe Faf de Klerk will be looking a little bit faster at the breakdowns, but I did feel like his game control overall was quite good last week. And also I was very impressed by his goal kicking for the Springboks. He slotted one right from the sideline, which was quite good. Tommaso Allen comes in number 10 once again for the Azzurri. He missed quite a few conversions, so this week he needs to hopefully he's bought a pill from Razzie Erasmus, because otherwise 50% goal kicking, it's going to really struggle once again for the Italian side. Damien Valemsa is a number 10 once again. So he didn't really have the kick. He had one good goal kick last week, but overall, I thought his game management is slightly better than he did against Ireland. But overall, still, he was a little bit clunky at 10, in my opinion. And number 11, Monty Ioane, gets that number 11 jersey for Italian side. He's up against Curly Adensa, two very interesting styles. So both of them are incredibly good at attacking rugby. But Curly Adensa is, I think, a little bit better under the high ball. So this will be a really interesting pressure game to see if the Springboks will put that high ball onto Ioane and get Curly to just like rush him down and see what happens. Because Ioane don't really have a kicking game, like a great, super good kicking game. So yeah, this will be interesting to see how this is going to turn out. Luca Morisi comes in number 12 for Italians. Juan Ignacio Brex retains the number 13 jersey for Italy. Whereas the Springboks has made a bit of a change in the center positions. Andre Esterhuizen gets his first start, I think this is, since the Welsh second test, gets to start for the number 12 jersey. And Damian Dialendi gets shuffled down to number 13. So I did notice that Dialendi is like a little bit slimmer and looks a little bit faster on the field as well. So maybe having him out of 13 is a good option because he does bring a bit more agile running game nowadays than he used to, I feel like. So having Andre Esterhuizen performing that traditional big crash ball dominant tackle style at 12 and allowing Damien Dialendi a bit more space at 13 could be an interesting selection here, especially with Lukamio's arm being injured. So yeah, Dialendi at 13, this is something that I wanted to... Yeah, I'm actually really interested to see. This means Jesse Krill completely misses out on the selections because he was number 13 last week. Pierre Bruno retains the number 14 jersey for Italy. And Cheslin Kobe, one of the most dangerous men on the field for the Springboks. Another guy who's really good at high ball and counter-attacking. Cheslin Kobe, we'll have to see if the Italian defense is going to hold up against his counter-attack. So Kobe has been targeted a lot in recent times, especially by the Irish and the French, so he wasn't really able to find any space with his counter-attacking. So if the Italian kicking game is not on point, we might see one of those games where Cheslin Kobe runs through the entire team. So yeah, we'll have to see. So at number 15, Agne Capuzzo. This guy is the greatest thing that's ever happened to Italian rugby. He is absolutely spectacular. He's the guy that single-handedly beat the Welsh in Six Nations. He literally scored a try against Wales in dying minutes to win the game, like just stepping through like a bunch of tackles and to win the game for Wales, for Italy against Wales in Cardiff. And he also scored 2 tries against the Wallabies last week. Quite impressive performer. And we'll see if he can. If anybody's going to score a try this weekend, it's probably going to be this guy for the Italian side, that is. So, yeah, we'll have to see how the Springboks going to neutralize him. Maybe the high ball is going to be a strategy against him. He's pretty good under the high ball, and his kicking game is decent. So, we'll have to see how the Springboks going to pressure that with Curly Adensa and Cheslin Kobe pressuring him. Willie le Roux retains the number 15 jersey for the Springboks. Interestingly, Willie le Roux was doing a lot of crossfield kicking these days for the Springboks. It's almost like a second 5'8". Something that more interestingly, is something that the All Blacks are trying to do with Geordie Barrett. So yeah, very interesting strategies. Like all these teams are kind of like stealing ideas from each other a little bit. So Willie le Roux has done quite a bit of like kicking game, like like I said, crossfield kicks, little grabber kicks behind, by moving up to like the second 5'8" option for the Springboks, and has done like decently okay for the Springboks. But yeah, we shall see if that's going to happen again this weekend. If that was just last week, like a special thing that we're trying to do, targeting the French, maybe like the slower French 4-pack maybe. But we'll have to see if they're going to do that again this week for Willie. In the reserves, like I mentioned, the Italian starting hooker Gianmarco Lucchesi moves down to number 16. Malcolm Marks for the Springboks at number 16. Ivan Nimas stays at number 17 as a loose-head prop reserve. Simone Ferrari comes down to number 18 jersey from 3 for the Italians to counteract Steven Kitsov and Vincent Koch, the loose and tight head props for the bomb squad from the Springboks. David Sissi retains the number 19 jersey for the Azuris, and Ibn Esabeth moves down to 19 jersey. I think this is the first game Ibn Esbeth they're not starting for the Springboks this year. So yeah, he gets half a game break. No break. Ibn Esbeth never gets a break. So he gets half a game off. So that's quite nice for him. Manuel Zuliani is a new addition for the Italians at number 20. Wildkard Smith gets dropped from the number 8 jersey down to number 20 with a bit more speed, and he's probably going to go on as a 6 or a 7, probably a 6 this week for Siak Khaleesi, because we do have Evan Rules. A lot of Springbok fanfare for this young guy. He is like the player of the year for the URC, for the South Africans, and everybody wanted to see him. He's finally going to get another shot for the Springboks, and he's going to be a number 8. He has really good fundamentals and really hard ball carrier, and just quite a promising young guy that has very solid technical skills that everybody wants to see to be part of the Springboks. And on the opposite side is Alessandro Garbisi, a reserve number 9. Eldorado Pandovani, number 22 for Italy. And finally, Tommaso Menocello comes in number 23 for the Italians. And Kobus Reinhardt gets that reserve number 9 jersey at number 22 for the Springboks. And Manny Lobok, reserve number 10 for the Springboks. Also the 4th, I guess, kicker for the Springboks for this weekend. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts this game. I feel like the Springboks probably going to dominate the Italians with the bomb squad, with the extra physicality from the 4-pack, especially when Ibn Esbeth, Wildkard Smith, and Evan Roos come on the field. They're really going to change the tempo. I do see that potentially the Italians hanging on to the game for maybe till half time before the bomb squad comes on to blow out the game. So I think the Springboks going to win like at least 2 tries, so by 14 points, at least more than 14. So let's say 34 points to 20. And let me know your thoughts, guys. Like and comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys a bit later for more previews. Cheers.